All right, so as a physician, and I'm sure my colleague there who does ENT, if we ever get into trouble, I just use Dr. Google. And so I typed in, is the Shroud of Turin real? And and there's the answer. 728 years old, based on the carbon-14 data. So thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. It's been a great talk. So we're going to go through. We'll go through why the carbon-14 data is incorrect. But first, we're going to go through what is the shroud and why there's evidence that it really truly is the burial cloth of Jesus, and that image is evidence of the resurrection. So we're going to go through all that. So here is a photograph, the first photograph that was taken of the shroud. So let me give you a little history of the shroud. So the first time that there was ever any notice about the shroud was in 1898 when Secondo Pia, an Italian, was given permission to take a photograph. And remember, photography was kind of in its infancy in those days. He took a photograph of the Shroud of Turin. It had been there. There's legends, that maybe it was the burial cloth of Jesus. There was all these legends, but no one really knew where it came from, how did it get there, why is it in Turin. And so a Savoy family actually ended up owning the Shroud of Turin. And so he took a picture, and the negative showed this. It showed this bearded Jesus with the crown of thorns, blood there from the crown of thorns, and it shows the scourging marks, and we'll just show better pictures. But in this, 2 meters by 4 meter shroud, which is about 25 feet long. So it's a big piece of linen, and everyone, oh, this is scandal. He must have faked it. He must have so. They banned anyone from photographing it again till 30 years later. And 30 years later, guess what? Another photographer came and did it, and the same thing happened. So then they said, there's something funny going on here. And so I'll skip a lot of the history of it, but basically what happened is a program was instituted in 1978 called the STIRP program. And it included people from Los Alamos Laboratory, the Air Force Academy, who they had invented what was called the JP8 analyzer. JP8 analyzer was a photo image analyzer that they used to land on the moon with, because again, photographs are two-dimensional. And you want to know the height of the mountains. When you're going to land a lunar craft on the moon, you want to know how high those mountains are. And so they invented this lunar lander, this lunar photograph interpreter called the JP8 analyzer. And they put that under here. And guess what? This is the only 3D image from ancient times in the world. This is a 3D image, and we'll go through that. It's even more than just a 3D image. And so how do you get a 3D image, even if it was created in the Middle Ages? So we'll go through that. This is how the shroud was applied to Jesus. And remember, he was not washed because they were in a hurry to bury him because it was the Sabbath, and so it was. They wanted to get him away, so he was unwashed, and so that's why the Shroud of Turin has all the blood stains and everything. Because normally they would wash the body and pull him, and that's why the women in the next day they were coming to apply wash him and apply the spices. So that's why the shroud has all the blood stains and all that, because he was never washed. So first off, again, back to what I said earlier. The shroud is a linen garment, and linen is made out of flax, not made out of cotton. And again, they had no cotton in Jerusalem, and in fact the Middle East until around 800, and it didn't get to Europe until 1200s to 1500s. And it's in this specific herringbone, 3-on-1 herringbone design, which they can date back to 1st century Syrian design. And it was so well woven and such a high quality that this cloth is of higher quality than what Queen Cleopatra was buried in. So it was clearly a high quality cloth that was built then. So, and here's kind of a linen picture you can see. It's a linen, it's not a photographic plate. It's a piece of linen, it's a piece of cloth.